Hey everyone, it is William here from the UpViral team. I hope you're doing amazing. And today I am joined with one of our UpViral users, one of our most successful UpViral users of the month. And her name is Silvia Llop, who's based in Madrid, in Spain. And she basically she was telling me on a previous interview that she started a blog in 2019, and that blog has now become a very profitable business for her. And last month she was able to collect almost 3,000 referred leads with a newsletter campaign that she did, and she's here today to share all the details about that success so that we can inspire you to do the same and achieve similar results. Okay, so Sylvia, welcome, and are you ready to dive in?
Oh, I think so, William. Thank you for inviting me.
No worries, no worries. We're very glad that you could make it and that we're here on a Good Friday, which is a bank holiday in a lot of countries, right? But you decided to work today. I was working as well, so we said, why not? Let's do it on this Friday bank holiday, and everyone who's on Facebook can watch us live. Cool. So with that being said, Sylvia, do you want to start by giving us a bit of an overview about your business?
Sure. So I'm a psychologist, and I'm specialized in love and relationships. So I help people find love, work on their self-esteem, get over breakups, and all this kind of love-related stuff. So my whole business revolves about that. And I have courses, I have a membership, I have a book. So I have different materials that they can actually buy, and I sell all those in my newsletter. So that's why it was important for me to grow it.
Yeah, got it. And all right, so you started off with a blog in 2019, and yeah, you said you have a membership, you have courses, you're also a psychologist. So yeah, lots of different revenue sources in your business, right? Which is great, I suppose.
Yeah, that's one of the keys of my success, let's say, of my business. It's that there are different revenues. So it's, if the membership doesn't go well, then I always have the courses, or the book is selling, or my private sessions. Yeah. So it's not that I rely on just one source of income, which is a bit stressful when you have your own business and you just have this one income revenue, this place where it comes just from one place, and then you have to always keep it going. So what I did, I started with just one, and then I grew it right over time.
Yeah, excellent. And at the end of the day, like you're in a position, I think that's the case for everyone who's a bit of a professional, right? Like psychologists, coaches, everyone who's in this space. You always trade like time for money. And the fact that you're doing like courses, a book, and things like that, that allows you to also open other revenue streams to grow your business faster, where it's not linked to your time specifically. Because if you create a course and you sell 10 copies, it takes almost the same amount of work, or the same amount of work if you sell 10 or 100 or 1,000, right?
Yeah, exactly. So when I started with the sessions, right? So I had a blog, I wrote posts there so people could, get to know me a little bit, and then they would hire me to be their therapist. But obviously you can just grow so much with your time, right? Because you're giving sessions, you can give 12 a day, but then you're like burnt out, you're tired, you don't have a life, and you're not happy. And that's what not supposed to be. I don't think life is supposed to be about that. So I wanted to build a business that, I didn't have to be as present, even though I'm super present, obviously, but I can choose. I don't need to be having 15 sessions to actually earn some money. So I started with that, but then I realized that there are a lot of people who would ask me questions, and they probably didn't have the money to get sessions with me. So I wrote a book. I did that book, when people are like, oh, I have this problem and that, I said, okay, just buy this book because you'll have an overview of what's going on. And then after that, I was like, okay, so people are asking me for more. I cannot be writing books because it does take like a year to write a book. So I said, okay, what can I do? And then I started a membership. And then my membership, well, now it has 3 levels and stuff, but it started very simple. It was just 2 audios a week, like a little premium podcast, let's say. So people would tell me about their situations, you know, related to love, like, you know, I'm dating this guy and this happened, blah, blah. So then what I would do is record like a podcast, just replying to that, and everyone can access it if they're paying. It's like 10 euros a month, right? So I started like that. It's been going on now for 3 years, and now I have thousands of people inside.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it's a lot, but it's because I've been growing it because people just wanted more, right? And if you listen to what they actually ask, you just need to create something that fulfills this desire or this need that they have to know. Because for me, it's not about business. I mean, I don't trade information so you grow your business and you make money. My information, it's for you to be happy, basically. Ultimately, so to be more self-aware, to have more self-esteem and all that. So it's a bit different than the business mind, like, you know, I give something to you, you pay money, but then you'll get money out of it, because that's, I think, more simple to understand. But then when you need to make them pay just for their own, you know, benefit, mental benefit, I think it's a bit more tricky. So you need to actually be doing something that they think that's important for them. So I started doing this, and then I started creating courses. And last year I put out like, I think 4 courses, and they went really well. So because I have a lot of people following me now, so it's easy for me to just listen to people, know what they actually want that I don't have, and then just create it.
Offer it. Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations on your success.
Thanks.
Because in a short amount of time, you've been able to create like big business, you know, generating different revenue streams, growing it. So that is definitely a great achievement. So congrats on that. And I guess that your audience, we talked about this a bit privately, but for everyone in the audience, so that they also know, your customer avatar is mainly focused on women, correct?
Yes, 95% are women, and the ages would be from 25 to 55, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then now let's talk a bit more about UpViral. So what made you use UpViral? What problem did you have, or what need did you want to solve?
Okay, so what I wanted is to grow my newsletter, because I have a lot of following on Instagram. And then my newsletter was okay. It was good. I mean, I had 12,000 people already, but I wanted it to grow, because I send an email every day. And in every email, I'll sell something that I have, one of my products, my membership, my book, whatever. So I think the best place to bring people is your newsletter, just because you have control over it. Because if you have a lot of following on Instagram, that's great, that's awesome. But Instagram suddenly changes their algorithm all the time. So then you don't get, you know, half the people now don't see your Instagram stories because you're not paying for publicity. So then they don't show it. People are telling me, oh, I didn't see that post, it didn't show. So you don't control anything at all. And in your newsletter, well, the emails go out, then they decide if they want to read them or not, but at least you don't depend on any algorithm or anything, that it's not just you. So I like to have this business grown by growing my newsletter. And obviously, I always send people from my Instagram to my newsletter. I have this lead magnet, like a masterclass, a self-esteem masterclass. So, you know, people sign up and everything goes well, but I wanted to grow it more and a bit faster. So I decided to find for a tool that would let me just do that without paying. Because I don't know, I used to pay at some point. I paid when I released my book. I did Facebook ads and it went really well. But I'm at a point that I don't actually need to. And I just don't want to go into the trouble of having to make a campaign and hiring something for that. And I just don't feel like it anymore. So I wanted to do it for free. And so yeah, I found you. That was awesome.
Okay. Cool. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. All right. So the focus was to grow your newsletter. So you have a really big following on Instagram. I think you shared 90,000 followers on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you want to get their email addresses. And that's a very smart move, because at the end of the day, like we always say this here at UpViral, right? When you are marketing on third-party platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is, YouTube, when you're marketing there, it's like you're renting the platform, right? You're renting a space in the platform. It's not your own. The only thing that you really own as a business owner is your email list, because that is something that you have, it's tangible, you can take it, you know, like with you, you can upload it to a different autoresponder, send out emails. That is a thing you really own. That's an asset for your business. But at the end of the day, like if you have a huge following on Instagram, if you have a great funnel that is working on Facebook, it's still you're renting a space on a third-party platform. If they make a change, if they decide to block your ad account, if they decide to, like you mentioned, change an algorithm that limits your reach, then you're going to be screwed. So always having people on your email list is definitely like a must when running a business. So yeah, cool. And all right, so you told us a bit about what you were looking to do, challenges you had, and the goals. Now tell us more about the campaign. So you basically had people, you had a newsletter campaign, and you wanted to have more people on the newsletter. So how did you do it? Tell us more about that.
Okay, so what I did is, well, I created this like the gifts. How do you call it in UpViral? The incentives, right? So I thought about, I was a bit ambitious, I gotta tell. So later, if you ask me about mistakes, I will tell you that. But so I started with an incentive of 5 people. Like if you bring 5 people to my newsletter, then you'll get this PDF about, how to get rid of things that block you. Just a little thing that I made, right? Then if you send me 10 people, you get an interview that I made, so I interviewed my mom, which has divorced and has been remarried, and she's really interesting and she explains things really well. So I think it's very valuable, because she was explaining about how it went after the divorce and before finding her new partner. And a lot of people from my audience benefits from that. So that's 10 people. Then I made a 50 incentive. So 50 people is already a lot, I can tell that now. But so what I offered was one of my courses, because I have 4, they can actually choose whichever they want, and they get one. And then if they send it to 100 people, then they get all of my courses. Okay, so for my audience, that's relevant. That wouldn't have worked with people that are not in my audience, because like, so who is she? What are their courses? Obviously, it doesn't make sense. But because I was putting it out for my own audience and people that actually is receiving an email a day, so they are actually quite hardcore, following me basically, because they read every day about me. They probably follow me on Instagram too, so they like what I do. And then I offered that. And then if they brought me 200 people, I offered 3 sessions with me, I think, but nobody actually reached that point. So that was, so people reached the 100 mark, but they never got to the 200. And then there was this grand prize of like whoever had most people that they brought to my newsletter after the 200, then they could just spend one morning with me somewhere. I would go to their city, but that never happened. Okay. Because they actually never reached the mark. That's why I say that I was, I thought like it would be like people would actually be sharing more than they actually did. But then I realized that the problem was that the topic that I teach is not, it's not something that everyone wants to share with their friends or random people on their Instagram or Facebook or whatever, because actually if they follow me, it's because they've had some trouble in love or self-esteem, and you don't actually want to be sharing that with the whole world. So that's why the incentives were way too high. And I'm surprised that even there's people that actually reached 100 referees. But yeah, I wouldn't do the same. I wouldn't do it the same way. And if you have you're listening now and you have a business where it's very personal, I just wouldn't do it like that. I would do it in small, small incentives, just not that, not that crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Was this your first UpViral campaign?
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, to be the first UpViral campaign, this is a great success, Sylvia. And I know like you are very ambitious and, but look, for example, here we can see, right, in the stats that you generated like 2,395 direct leads, which then referred another like 2,000. Wait, I have the Zoom settings here in the middle. Let's see if I can remove them.
I don't see them, William, so probably people don't see it too.
Are you seeing my screen or not?
Yes, I see the numbers and all, so it should be okay.
Okay. So yeah, I was just gonna share here. So all right, now I see it. So you generated 2,395 direct leads, which then resulted in 2,934 referred leads, right? So you got more referred leads than you got direct leads. And that is a great success. One thing that I noticed as well, and something that you picked up on, right? So you are in an industry where it's so psychology of love is not something that someone would probably share like on the open, on Facebook, on Twitter, so that everyone, all their friends, all their network can see it. But it is something that people would probably share more like personal, one-to-one. Oh, I know a friend who's struggling with her love relationship at the moment. I can send this to her. And this is something I picked up on, that your top 5 social and custom actions, and the number one with a massive difference is WhatsApp, where a lot of like one-to-one conversations happen, right? And then you can already see like Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, which are, you know, like more to the open group so that all your friends can see it, are performing much worse compared to WhatsApp. So one-to-one messages are definitely like one of the key strategies for you to grow. And like you said, you know, like probably reducing the number of referrals they need to generate in order to access the incentives. Because some of your incentives were if you got like 100 people into the campaign, things like that, and people don't really know like 100 people who are struggling with their relationship, right? But they do maybe know 1 or 2 or 3 or 5. So having like lower the number of referrals to access incentives would probably be better. And as we discussed, Sylvia, at the end of the day, it's not about like just having a huge database of emails, right? It's having the right people on your email list. So in your case, it's very personal matter, right? So if you have 2,000, 10,000 very engaged subscribers, it's going to be much better than having a very broad 100,000 list of subscribers who are not engaged and are not even struggling with their love relationship.
Yeah, that's the thing, a key to bear in mind. Like sometimes the big numbers are like, oh, wow, I made, you know, all these people join the campaign, but it, you know, it doesn't matter. Like people were actually bringing their mothers of like 80 years old. They have an email for sure. They don't even know how to get to their email. So let alone read my newsletter. So I think that's one of the things that I learned, that it doesn't, so it's not about the quantity, it's the quality. So obviously now I'll tell you about it later, but now I'm launching this evergreen campaign, and I changed the whole parameters because I know I learned from what happened here, which is a good thing because obviously I got a lot of people, but I'm not happy about the result just because there was something missing from me. It was a very important piece of the information, and it's that people is not gonna want to actually share that they have love problems with everyone, with their, colleagues at work or bosses or whoever is following them on social media, which is, normal. So I think it's really good to actually ask yourself, what is it that you're offering, and how people that don't know you will perceive the person that is, referring them to your campaign. Because then you can see if you can make like a big thing And it doesn't matter because, everyone wants to win, a trip to the Caribbean island, whatever. But not everyone wants to win a self-esteem masterclass. And this is something that is very, it's very personal, and you don't really want people to know about this. But when you have a really good friend that is struggling, or that you think that this would be useful, like, I have so many groups of friends following me, because one is like, oh my God, this girl said this and that, and it helped me. So you follow her. And I have really big groups of friends just follow me, but groups of friends, like 5 friends, like maybe 8 friends tops, but not 50 friends, So you need to bear in mind what is the target, and how they are going to be perceived by the others when they share your campaign. I think that's an important thing that I didn't take into account.
Yeah, 100%. But this is your first campaign, and now, like you said, like the next one will be better.
Hopefully.
Something I picked up on as well that shows great engagement from the leads that you collected is this part. So it is showing total email count. So you, through UpViral, 988 email notifications were sent, with a like 77% open rate, and 23% didn't open. And this is also showing like a great engagement from the emails that you got. 77% email open rate is really high. One more question for you, Sylvia. I noticed that here you have the WhatsApp as a one-to-one messaging app. You have Facebook, Telegram, and Twitter. But I don't see Facebook Messenger. Is there any reason for that you disabled Facebook Messenger?
I just think Facebook is dying. So, but because I also have, I post whatever I post on Instagram, I post on Facebook, and I have way, way, way less following. So I didn't think it was super relevant. Everyone has WhatsApp. So I think, or at least in Spain, we use way more WhatsApp than Facebook Messenger. So I don't talk to any of my friends on Facebook Messenger, and I don't know anyone that talks through that. So that's why I disabled it. I didn't want to give out too many options that were not, that were not necessary, basically.
Yeah, makes sense. Just an idea, like for next campaign, like I would still like, because you see that WhatsApp, which is a one-to-one messaging app, was the best performing with a massive difference. And Facebook Messenger is also like a one-to-one messaging app. So I would still like be interested in testing it. And yes, you're right that here in Europe, we use a lot more WhatsApp compared to, for example, in the US, I think there they use more Messenger than WhatsApp. So here we use more WhatsApp, but still, Messenger, like it might not be as much as WhatsApp, but since it's a one-to-one messaging app and your campaign does better on those sort of platforms, I would test it.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So these are the stats from Sylvia's campaign. And all right. So can you now like tell us, Sylvia, like more about the prizes that you had different prizes in your campaign? Can you tell us what those incentives were, and why did you pick those incentives?
Okay, so the first incentive was this simple PDF about like, when you want something, but you're not really achieving it because like you're basically blocking yourself from it. And so I give like a couple exercises that work very well when I do private sessions. So I just wrote it down, explained the situation, blah, blah. It's a simple PDF. Okay, so that's the first one. Then it was my mom's interview, where we talk about all this dating life in between husbands, let's say. Yes, there you have it. Yeah, so then one of my courses, they can choose one, they can have it for themselves, or they can give it away to a friend, because there's a lot of people that have actually bought all of my courses already. So I needed to, add something so it's like still attractive. And there were people that actually gave away some courses to friends or family, which is actually nice. Then all my courses, but that's already 100 points, which is a lot. And I think just like 4 or 5 people made that. And then 3 coaching sessions with me. So that nobody actually reached that. So that prize is, doesn't matter. They never reached it.
All right. And then in addition to that, you also had a grand prize, and that is, you briefly touched based on that, like earlier in the interview. But you said no one reached that, or
no.
Tell us more about the grand prize.
Yeah, I thought that it would be cool to just like, fly to any city in Spain and spend the money with, not the money, a morning with one person, right? The money, yeah, give you everything. So I thought that would be cool because there's so many people that want to hang out with me because I have such a huge following on Instagram, and they like me as a person and as a psychologist. So I thought that would be a good incentive that doesn't, well, it costs money because I have to fly probably somewhere, but it doesn't matter. I can just have like a weekend away and it's fun anyways for me. So I thought that would be a good prize. It's just that, nobody reached even the one before. So obviously this was canceled because I said that they had to have at least 200 points to be having this one. But yeah, because it was my first campaign, I didn't actually know how it was gonna, because I know there's a lot of people that follow me, have a big following on media or Instagram, whatever too, right? So I thought if one of these people actually wants to share it, they can get easily to this amount of people to subscribe. But I don't think that happens. So nobody reached it. But yeah, that was an idea. But it just works obviously if you have like this you have this brand that it's yourself. It's not like a company and like, well, unless it's like a business thing, you can say you're gonna have a coffee with the CEO and he'll tell you whatever you want to know, which is actually really cool. So I think that can be translated and can work way better in the business area more than the personal one. But yeah, I tried.
Of course, and that's the thing, it was your first campaign. It's a matter of trying different things and then seeing what works, and now you have a bunch of ideas already to improve the next one, which we'll share in a bit. But yeah, I just want to show people the share page as well. So you just saw the top section where the different incentives were announced, and then this follows with a unique sharing link, then the sharing on WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Telegram. Sylvia, what do you think were the strongest points of the entire campaign that made it work so well?
I think what made it work well is that people were already, following me and, buying my stuff, and they were already engaged with me because this is a campaign that so I only made it for the people on my newsletter. So not even people from my Instagram could reach the campaign unless they sign up to my newsletter. So it was so personal already that it was easy for people to want to have what I had to offer. And I think that was the key of the success of this particular campaign, that maybe at some point I do a campaign for people that are not even, that don't know me at all, and just like give away something that might be cool for them. But I think it's more difficult to make someone that doesn't know you want to have whatever you're offering than just give it to the people that already love you for what you do, or have your products, or have signed up to something, or read your book, or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, definitely. I agree that the depth in the relationship that you have with your audience is also something that made it work so well. And you leveraged your existing audience that was already on your newsletter to basically spread the word and refer others. Okay, and so this campaign ran for 30 days, right? So you launched it in February and it ended in March, correct?
It was a bit over that, I think like a month and a week, something like that.
Okay. And what did you do to keep your audience engaged throughout that like 30-day process? Like if they joined on day 1, day 2, day 10, like what did you do to keep them engaged?
You mean the people that were already on my newsletter, or the people that joined?
The people that joined the campaign, yeah, to keep them to refer others.
Well, actually, I didn't do that much. So because I have, when you sign up to my newsletter, there's this 20 emails that are already preset. So what I do is like, yeah, they are getting these emails because I want them to get to know a bit of me and a bit of all my products and all that. And after that, they get the email like a day that I write, like today, they will get the one that I wrote today. So the problem was that because this was a set thing for the emails and people didn't know me yet, well, in the first or second email, I told them like, hey, by the way, you can participate in this. But if they don't know me at all, the incentives don't really make sense. Yeah. Right. So they are not very desirable. So that's why I didn't actually take advantage of that, because I thought, okay, so it's one or the other. If I want to take advantage of that, I should have different incentives. And it was way too much for me in that moment. So I just decided to do it with whoever was already on my newsletter and see how much I could get out of that. I wouldn't do the same, I think, if I launched another campaign, like the temporary one like this. I think I would do it differently. But at that time, that's what I did.
Yeah. All right. And so in terms of like traffic channels to get people onto the campaign, you've mentioned that you leveraged the people that you already had on your newsletter. Did you do anything else? Any other traffic channel like social media post, organic, anything?
No, nothing at all.
Only the newsletter. All right, cool.
Yeah, because I also, it's the idea behind William is that I wanted to, give something to the people that were already, believing in me in a way of that they're reading every day an email that I send. So I want to take care of these people because they have invested more than people who maybe just follow me on social media or don't follow me at all, right? So I always thought about this campaign like something that they would be the only ones that would have just because of this.
Yeah, totally. So here we have, like, what I'm sharing here is a couple of email invites that you basically, you originally, all this content, we have to say, was in Spanish, but we have translated it here because you work mainly in the Spanish speaking market. But here are a couple of emails that are basically inviting people that you had on your newsletter, inviting them to sign up to the referral campaign and motivating them to refer others to get access to the prizes. I have to say, have you written these emails yourself, Sylvia?
Yeah.
Or do you have a copywriter in your team?
Oh, no, I do. Like, I love writing. I do it myself.
Yeah, because I think you're great at it.
Oh, thanks.
I have been I have been reading through the opt-in page and through the emails that you have in your campaign. And for example, right, like this is a section from the opt-in page, but I think it's great. Like, wait, Zoom settings are in the middle. I need to. So love can be a big piece of shit or quite the opposite, and hello, I'm Sylvia. Like, I think that is a great headline that you have there. And I really enjoyed reading through the content of the opt-in page, the share page, the emails. It's very, very engaging content.
Yeah, that's the idea. I think if you write in a way that people are engaged and just want to know more, then it's easy for them to actually do it. Because one of the things that I do in that page, and it's, by the way, this is a version of the page that if you go to my website, you'll see exactly this. A bit more, I think it's a bit longer. But it's exactly this, because in my website, what I want you to do is just sign up to my newsletter. Then you can buy whatever you like. Sign up first, because then I can be in constant communication with you and just you get to know me, and then you pick me if you like me, right? So one of the things that I do there, and I think that that's quite powerful, is just to explain the beginning of a story and say that in the first email of the newsletter, you'll actually, know what happens with that. So when you put something out and it's a story and people are engaged and it's like, okay, but what happened? And you don't say it and they have to sign up for that. That's also an incentive to sign up. So I play a lot with this kind of stuff because I think it's fun and people actually like it. So if you are reading to a page, just, you were reading it because you had to interview me. But if you are entertained by that, that's awesome, because that's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely content that when you start reading, it engages you in the story and you want to continue reading the full story. Very well written. Okay, so I would like to know as well, like what happens, like you had now 2,934 extra referred leads sign up to your newsletter campaign. Are you doing anything different to those leads that came up through referred channels? They haven't heard of you before, or are they going through the same email sequence, through the same daily newsletter that you're sending out to everyone?
They are going to the same sequence, but as I told you, the first 20 something emails are, are like kind of an introduction. So
Yeah.
they're not
Okay.
like just suddenly receiving what I wrote today. They get to know
Okay.
me, my vocabulary, the things that I teach, my courses, everything. So then when they get to, they get through this month that they have this content that is already created and like carefully put into emails every day, then they just get to the real stuff that is happening right now.
Okay. Okay. So essentially you have like two different segments, right? The new people who joined, they receive the onboarding emails with 20 different emails. And then you have everyone else that receives your daily broadcast emails.
Exactly.
Okay, that's really, really smart. It's simple, but at the same time, it is effective. I can see how it can be very effective. Yeah.
Yeah, it has its cons and its pros, because if I didn't have it like that, I could be, for example, on my Instagram saying, on tomorrow's email, I'm going to be talking about this topic that is extremely interesting. And then people would just sign up for that. But I can't do that, because when they sign up, they have all this onboarding sequence. So, I think it's very positive because they get to know me and what I do in a very organized way, which I think is better for my business. But there's also the other way of doing it, is like directly just have a welcome email and then just put them on the, on the normal sequence, and then you can actually sell what you're going to write about. But it's a different way of doing it.
Yeah, it is a different way. And at the end of the day, it's also a bit like, especially with a topic that, with your niche, right? It is something, I think your approach is actually better especially for your niche, because it is something that people sometimes have a hard time opening up about these things, right? And who they choose to work with and who they choose to follow for such important matters. So they need to have the trust in you before. If you straight away like start promoting your products, then people that don't know you will be like, but why are you telling me this? Who are you? But if you first build that trust, build that connection with your audience, and then you go into the products, promotions, and everything, I think that's a better way of onboarding them.
Yeah, I think so too, because I mean, it's such a personal thing that
yeah,
they need to get to know you a little bit. And I'm very honest about what's going on with me, or what's my story and my love story as well, so they know where I'm coming from, not just as a psychology point of view, but just as a personal point of view. And because I get very personal, I connect very well with people, and they trust me because they think, okay, she's not just talking about her throne or whatever. She's actually experienced a lot of stuff as well, so she understands.
Yeah, she's gone through the struggle. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. And then what are the main takeaways that you learned from this campaign, and what would you do different in the next one? Because you've mentioned that you're planning already a next evergreen campaign. So tell us about the main lessons and takeaways, and what are you planning to do differently on your next campaign?
Okay, so main lessons is study your people. Like, don't put out this massive campaign, when you have such an intimate topic, because it worked fairly well just because I had a lot of following already, but otherwise it wouldn't have worked at all, I think. So it's nice to know what you actually, if there's people that are going to be sharing it with the whole world, or if they're going to be sharing it with just a tiny part of their people, because they think they will benefit from it. So in my case, what I should have done, and what I'm doing for this next campaign that I'm going to put out, is to just make the incentive smaller. Like, the referrals that they need to win prizes must be smaller. So maybe the top one is 50, I would say, or 100, okay, because it worked, but maybe I would just put it on 50, the top one, if I do a lot of prices, and, you know, they can actually be motivated, because I felt that a lot of them were so demotivated because they were like, nobody is actually doing it. Like nobody is, I put it out and nobody is joining this. So I can't win anything. And that's very frustrating for them and for me as well, because I'm like, I want you to win, but yeah, I cannot just give it away. So yeah, just smaller incentives. So not incentives, but well, you understood what I mean. And then and then I think it's just that it's promoting what what I'm going to do now. It's an evergreen campaign, right? So when you reach the 20th whatever email of my onboarding email sequence, then you have 3 emails that are going to be about this. And what I'm going to do is just use 2 of the prices. We talked the other day and you told me I should put an incentive of just 1 people, and I'm thinking about that. So I will also integrate that when I know what I want to put out. But what I am doing, because I think I launched it yesterday or 2 days ago, but it's so it's going to go slower, right? But what I'm going to do is just put this PDF that I use for this campaign, but they just have to send me 3 people over. And for my mom's interview, 5 people. And then I'm going to add one person as well, so they can just be motivated. And then I made it very clear that I don't want them to just send it to their dad's business that will never read my newsletter, but just actually think who would benefit from a newsletter like mine or from the masterclass that I give away, because they are going to be helping someone, and that's way better just to win something, but also help someone. So I put it in a way that to make them actually think of a person that they would send it to that would benefit from it. And I think that's going to make a big difference. So this is going to be a slow burn. So maybe in a year I can come and tell you, but it's not like a big blow up like the other one, because it was a month and it was something huge. But this one is way smaller, but I think results wise, they're going to be so much better than the other one.
Fully agreed. Fully agreed. All right. So you're going to have on your 20 onboarding email sequence, you're going to add 3 additional emails that talk about the evergreen referral campaign. And I agree with you. Like it won't be as much about like, hey, like win all these amazing prizes, and you have until this date, but much more focused on, hey, who do you know who's also struggling in their relationship that could benefit from this content? Then have them refer others. And the moment like they already refer 1 person, they get small incentive, 3 and 5, as opposed to like having to refer 20, 50, 100 people. That is definitely going to be more effective. All right. And then you build a new stream of leads for your business, a perpetual traffic, right?
Exactly. I think that's such a good tool to do that, because obviously I'll keep sending people over from Instagram, or everyone that visits my website actually gets to go to a newsletter, right? But this is a way of just having quality leads, because like if you know someone that's struggling and that might connect with my way of saying things, then you just send it over, which is what people do anyway. Because they tell, oh, you follow her on Instagram. It happens a lot with Instagram. But now I just wanted to make this happen on my newsletter. So I think with UpViral, it's going to be, you know, that my growth is going to be way faster than what it would naturally be.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, Sylvia, now we're getting to the final part of the interview. And first of all, I would like to ask you, if someone is watching and they would really like to connect with you, sign up to your newsletter, where can they do that?
Well, first of all, they need to be Spanish speakers, because otherwise it's going to be a lot of nothing there. But they can go to my website, silviayop.com, or psicologadelamor.com, if you understand. So if you don't understand that, just don't try, because it's not, you're not going to be able to get anything out of it, which is a shame, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So yeah, you can just reach me through that, or find me on Instagram by my name and just see what I'm doing. And if, you know, if I can help, or you can see whatever that inspires you, that would be amazing.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, we have a very worldwide audience. So I'm sure there's a lot of Spanish speakers in Latin America, in Spain as well, so they can benefit from the content that you write. So I encourage you also to sign up, because as I mentioned, like very engaging content written by Sylvia. And then final question, Sylvia, in a few words, like what would you say about UpViral?
It's an awesome way to grow faster. It just in any way you want. I chose to do it on my newsletter, but you can do it, it puts you in a place that you wouldn't be able to reach by yourself, I would say.
All right, awesome. Okay, Sylvia, so with that, we'll wrap up the interview. But before we do that, I want to really thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us today and for sharing your campaign with the audience. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of inspiration for many of our users who want to grow their newsletter subscribers. So thank you so much for being with us. Okay.
Thank you. I'm excited because I actually took advantage of all your success cases as well to build my campaign. So I think it's really nice that I can do that for other people, hopefully.
Yeah, glad to hear. Glad to hear you had value from the case studies. We definitely have a lot. Like right now, I think we have over 45 case studies sitting on our website. So whatever, when you're watching, whatever like niche you're in or type of business you have, definitely go to the UpViral case studies page. We even added, like we have so many that we even added like a filtering button where you can now filter by newsletter business or e-commerce business, coaching business, etc., so that you can read the ones that are most relevant to your niche. But yeah, thank you so much, Sylvia. Hope you have a wonderful Easter break ahead, and yeah, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Okay. Thank you, William. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Sylvia. Have a great day ahead. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.